Hello everyone, I want to share some creepy or strange stories that I know. Some stories were told by my relatives, mainly by my grandfather, or my acquaintances. I have also encountered some unexplained incidents in my life. I will also write some stories that have been published in the local newspaper. In some stories, there may be some moments for foreigners. I will try to explain them. I did not change anything in the stories. If there are any distortions, it is because I heard or read these stories long time ago and my memory could distort them. I hope you enjoy stories. Also sorry for poor English, I didn't write big and complex texts very long time. Basic information of Republic of Sakha, Yakutia. Yakutia located in Far East in Russia. The largest subject of the Russian Federation in terms of area. However, population density in it one of the lowest in Russia, around 1 million people. Winter is long and cold. Average temperature in December and January around -50 degrees Celsius. Summer is short, hot and dry. Average temperature in June and July above +35 degrees Celsius. About religion, ethnic Russians, around 40% of population, are Orthodox Christians. Sakha people, Yakut, around 50% of population, mostly have Yakutian version of Tengri faith and shamanism. Someone syncretized Tengri with Orthodoxy. There is also smaller Siberian culture like Ivans, Ivnks, Yukagurs, Dolgans etc., but I don't know much about their culture. Sakha, Yakut, are Turkic nation with some Mongolian and Tungusic influence. Shaman's grave, grandfather story number 1. Bihim. Around 7 years old. Decided to go for a walk in the forest with his friend. Go further than usual. A strange structure is soon found, like this on pic related. It's a shaman's grave. At first, they get scared, but decide to investigate it. Shaman's things are found near the grave like a shaman's tambourine, denier. Gradually the fear recedes, and they start to play with these things. Decide that would be nice to show new cool things to other children in the village. Back on the road to village. On the way back to a village, they saw a rider on horseback which is heading towards them. That was the headman of village. Looked at children's things and asks where they got it from. Children told him how they found these things. The headman got angry and worked out some UFC moves on them. Urgently took them to their parents in the village. Brings them to their parents and told them what happened. Parents also got enraged and practiced some UFC moves on them. Decide what to do. There was a female shaman, Udigan, in neighboring village. They went to this village. Come to her and start telling her what happened. Udigan says that she sensed their approach in advance and a ritual should be prepared if they want the children not to be in serious trouble. The woman prepares for the ritual and asks them to go outside. After a while, Udigan leaves her house and starts talking. I did what I could. You should put things back in place and ask for forgiveness. Then you will understand whether the shaman forgave you or not. Did everything what she said. The next day, grandfather's friend wakes up and found out that he can no longer speak. From that day on, he became dumb. He lived a long life. Doctors and healers tried to heal him, but all attempts were unsuccessful. Strange man, grandfather story number 2. Bihim. Around 9 years old. Played with his friends in the forest near his village. It's getting quite late, the campaign is going home. Grandfather goes to his house alone. On the way, he meets a strange old, thin, tall man. Grandfather does not recognize this person. A strange person walks up to the child and speaks. What are you doing here at this late hour? Go home quickly. Your little sister misses you. Your grandmother is going to cook your favorite pancakes. Your parents have finished their work and are preparing to have dinner now. The strange man went further down the road. Grandfather thought it was a family friend who came to visit from a neighboring village. He returned to his home and sees that everything is just as that person said. Started asking about this person. The family said that no one came to them today. Grandfather told how he met this man and described his appearance. Parents and grandmother were very scared. This man's descriptions matched to one of my grandfather's grandfather, who died long ago. My grandfather's grandfather was a dark shaman, moreover, he was a ravenous shaman. In the Saku religion, there are two types of shamans, white shamans and dark shamans. White shamans are serving the gods, They mostly give blessings and heal people. Dark shaman, Oya-un, was like a Jedi, that is, he could use the forces of both the upper world and the lower world. But if Oya-un could not cope with the inhabitants from the lower world, then they took control over him, and he became Oya-un, ravenous shaman. Ravenous shamans are obsessed with harming people, primarily their relatives. This event took place around at the end of May 1941. A few weeks later, my grandfather's grandmother died. Soon my grandfather's parents died of hunger and illness due to the war. My grandfather and his sister were sent to an orphanage, where they were later taken from there by relatives and raised, fishing. Grandfather story number 3. Biham. Around 25 years old. Going to meet with his old friend who lives on Other Alus, region, of Yakutia. Meet him. Celebrate and drink some vodka. They decided to go fishing on a local lake tomorrow. On next day they arrived at this lake. Start fishing. No fish. Few hours later. Still no fish. Grandfather got angry. What a shitty lake. Is there any fish here? Grandfather's friend got nervous. I would not dare to say that. You know the rules, you should ask for forgiveness. No, I believe in Lenin and the Soviet Party, not in superstitions. It's your choice, but I would be more careful if I were you. In Saku religion, respect to the nature is one of the most important things. When you go out into nature, you shouldn't speak loud, drink, have fun and throw a garbage. Also, you should not insult the place where you are, because the spirit of this place can hear you and gets angry. Evening came, grandfather and his friend laid in sleeping bags on the shore of the lake. Late night. Through a dream, the grandfather feels like someone is slowly dragging him towards the lake. Attempts to wake up his friend who is sleeping next to him but can't move or speak. The lake is getting closer and closer, the water touched his feet. The water has reached the waist. Grandfather gathers all his strength and started to cry. Paralysis goes away immediately. There is no one on the side of the lake. A friend comes up to him and asks what happened. Grandfather tells what happened. What a fool, I told you. You're lucky, if it wanted to kill you, it would not give you a chance of salvation. Since then, my grandfather stopped doubting the presence of supernatural powers, but he remained a true communist. Old Cowshed, grandfather story number 4. Be me. Summer of 2007. Sit and watch TV. Parents are at work, grandmother is preparing food, grandfather is on outside doing outside work. Feels good. A frightened grandfather suddenly bursts into the house. Said not to approach the cowsheds under any circumstances. Called parents. After a while, when he calmed down, he told us what happened. Be him. A few minutes ago. Grandfather goes to the cowshed. Cows are gone to graze, so cowshed are empty. Decides to clean the cowshed. Heads towards an old, abandoned cowshed where tools and food for the cows are kept. Grandfather goes inside and starts looking for things. Suddenly he hears either a roar or a hiss from the far corner. In the far corner, the grandfather sees the silhouette of a child. Very thin child. With glowing eyes. With a strange head shape. Grandfather freezes with fear. When he stood, there was a stick for stirring livestock feed around his hand. Throws a stick towards the face of the child. A silent scream is heard. Grandfather runs to the exit. Locks the barn door, barricades the door and windows. After his story, the grandfather called some people. Several people came to the house in a late evening. I was sent to my room on the second floor of the house. After conversations, people go outside. I was forbidden to go outside and told to go to bed. The next day everything was as usual. Grandfather refused to say what happened, he just said that everything would be okay from now on. I have a version that it could be. In the mythology of Sakha there is an evil spirit called calf demon, which kills livestock, mainly calves, and feeds on their life energy. Usually, it appears as a child in a cow's skin and makes screams like a cow's lowing. Usually, in order to stop it, people call shamans or other people. I read somewhere that to exorcise a spirit, it is necessary that the person who first noticed it pierced it with a knife, and then the evil spirit will disappear. Story of classmate of my older brother. BM. Around 17 years old. Autumn 2005. Decided to go alone to shoot ducks. Came to the place. Shot some ducks. Late evening. Collects his things. Hears some noise in the bushes nearby. Too dark, nothing can be seen. Source of noise is getting closer. The young man began to be nervous. Who is there? Noise stopped. Fear increased. Heard somewhere that when a suspicious activity starts, he must say, "If you are a human then come here and talk. If you are not human, then go away." But he was not smart person, also he was very afraid at that time, so he confused the words in places. If you are a human then go away. If you are not human, then come here and talk. Woke up in the morning in a nearby forest. The whole body is sick, everywhere scratches and abrasions. Does not remember anything what was happened after his speech. Returned to his camp. Killed ducks disappeared, things from the camp are badly damaged. Went home. People said that he periodically gets panic attacks and nightmares. After school he went to Yakutsk. Don't know about his destiny after, Tanka. Be me. Around January 15, 2013. Midnight. -55 degrees Celsius. Need to poo. Went outside. Went to the toilet. Take a crap. Feels good. It takes around 5–10 minutes. The conversation is heard near. Cannot disassemble words, they are speaking hemi-spot. Maybe some local alcoholics are talking near the courtyard. My ass is starting to freeze. It's time to return. Go out of a toilet. No one is around. Only a few my own horses are nearby in their stable looking at me. Strange. How did these people disappear so quickly? After all, they just talked among themselves a few seconds ago. Return home. Remember that now is Tanka time. Starting to remember one ritual. Goosebumps are crawling. According to Yakutsk custom on the night of January 13th to 14th to night from 18 to January 19th, there comes the time of fortune-telling, Tanka. According to believe in this time, the god of the fate of Tanka Kantoyan and other spirits are closest to the human world, and it is at that time predictions are the most accurate and true. Some predictions can be quite dangerous if it is incorrect to conduct a ritual, it can lead to physical or mental injury or even to death. For example, if you want to know about your future you can't listen what horses say. People hid in a stable and waited for an animals to speak by human language, predicting the fate of their owners and their acquaintances. It is noteworthy that if the horses notice the presence of people, they will kill them. Be me. January 2010 few days after NY. Parents went to friends in a neighboring village. The older brother remained in charge, but that night, he went to a party. At that time, our elder brother's bride was visiting us. I used to sleep on the second floor in my room, but in those days, I slept on the first floor in the living room, in front of the TV. The older brother's bride slept across the room. Around 3 a.m. After watching TV I decided to fall asleep. But before that I started to hear noises from the second floor. Someone is walking. It is impossible to enter the second floor from outside without breaking windows. From inside, only a staircase leads to the second floor, which is located next to the hall. Meanwhile, the sounds of footsteps above have accelerated. the older brother's bride asked me in a frightened voice. "Can you hear that?" I replied that I hear it too. Footstep sounds have stopped. Then the sound of a door handle began to be heard. Someone or something slowly opened the door on the second floor. Then it calmed down for a couple of seconds, then again began to twist the door handle. After several such quiet and slow actions, someone started repeating it much louder and faster. The bride whispered that she was scared and that I should do something. But I also laid in fear and was afraid to move. Then noises of the door handle stopped. Footsteps were heard again. Then suddenly someone started to loudly smash the door. All this was repeated few seconds, then suddenly it became quiet. Nobody wanted to get up and go check what was happening upstairs. Big brother returned soon after. We told him what happened. He checked the second floor and found nothing. His version was that it was the spirit of the house. The spirit of the house began to do this because we did not contact him and did not introduce him to the bride. After that, we lit a fire in a hearth, fed the spirit and explained the situation to him. There was no more noise in the house, old man. An old man lived near the river. He was about 90 years old, but still in good physical shape. Once he went to a river for water. Suddenly his heart ached. He fell and died. Preparations for the funeral have begun. Suddenly, while preparing, the old man got up and came to life. Everyone was very scared. But then they calmed down and began to ask what happened. He began to tell. When he walked to the river, his heart began to ache, then his head started spinning and he lost consciousness. After a while, he woke up in an unfamiliar place. He stood on a flat rocky surface, there was fog everywhere and nothing was visible. Suddenly a deep, powerful voice rang out from above. He said name, surname and patronymic and asked if that was his name. The old man replied that name and surname are correct, but the patronymic is slightly different. There was silence for a while. Then a voice from above asked if the old man works as a pilot. The old man was surprised and said no. He worked all his life as a builder, and then as a driver, but now he is retired. A furious voice sounded from above, addressing someone else. What person did you send me? I asked for a pilot, not a retired man. Bring this man back. Then the old man woke up while preparing for the funeral. A few months later, a plane crash occurred in Yakutia. One of the victims was the pilot whose name and surname coincided with the name and surname of the old man, only the patronymics were slightly different. The old man lived for several more years and then died of natural causes.